Good evening. Welcome, this large group, to the Carmel Central School District Board of Ed meeting on July 1st. We're going to start with roll call. Trustee Curzio.
Present.
Trustee Douglas.
Present.
Trustee Grasso.
Present.
Trustee Magliano.
Present.
Trustee Orser. Here. Trustee Torpy.
Here.
Trustee Wise.
Present.
Okay, I'm going to start. Well, we need to administer the oath of office to our...
We have our ex officios. Just,
Should they be part of the roll call? I'm
Yes.
so sorry, kids.
that's all right.
Forgive me. I didn't think about that.
We told you guys it was new for everyone.
Okay. So Trustee Roberts.
Here.
Trustee Prasad.
Present.
Trustee Salisbury.
Here.
And Trustee Felsenfeld.
Here.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry about that. All right. The first thing I want to do is I wanted to give the oath of office to Trustee Torpy, who hasn't done that yet, but I understand that Trustee Curzio is going to do that for us. Do you need? You have.
I've come prepared.
Of course.
I knew that. Okay, Trustee Curzio, if you wouldn't mind giving the oath of office to Trustee Torpy. Just so everybody knows, Trustee Grasso did this with me the other day, so his oath is already in place.
How would you like to maneuver this?
You tell me.
Would you like the
Someone to hold it?
Senior board member. Thank you, sir. It's a left hand, right hand?
Bible. Mr. Torpy, are you prepared to take the oath?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Michael Torpy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge,
and I will faithfully discharge,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
the duties of the position of
the duties of the position of
Board of Education Trustee
Board of Education Trustee
of the Carmel Central School
of the
District,
Carmel Central School District,
to which I am now assigned.
to which I am now assigned.
Congratulations.
Trustee Torpy, I have something for you to sign on your way out, or I'll bring it over to you a little later. Okay. Thank you. Next, we're going to administer the oath of office to our ex officio student trustees. So you guys are going to do the same thing. Stand, please, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. Okay. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
or affirm, I can say or affirm, sorry, that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge,
faithfully discharge,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
the duties of the position of ex officio trustee
the duties of the position of the ex officio trustee
to the school board of the Carmel Central School District,
of the school board of the Carmel Central School District,
to which I am now assigned.
to which I am now assigned.
Great job. Thank you. This is our first ever, guys, our first ever kids. Okay, next we're going to, I would like to give the oath of office to our interim superintendent. So, I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge,
and I will faithfully discharge,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
the duties of position of interim superintendent
the duties and position of interim superintendent
of the Carmel Central School District, to which I am now assigned.
of the Carmel Central School District, to which I am now assigned.
Thank you. I'm clapping for that. Now we get to the business of elections of the president and the vice president. Nominations are now open for the office of president of the Board of Education for the 25-26 school year. Nominations of office require a second, but there will be no vote until nominations are declared closed. Is there a nomination?
Yes, I proudly nominate trustee Melissa Orser for a second term as president of the Carmel Central School District Board of Education.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Is there a second to the nomination of trustee Orser?
I'd like to second that.
This is uncontested, so I don't know that we have to do the roll call, but we'll do it anyway, okay? Trustee so the answer here is there being no further nominations. Is there a motion declaring the nominations closed?
So moved.
Second.
Second? All in favor to that?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will now vote on the nominations by roll call vote. Please indicate the name of the nominee for whom you cast your vote. The vote is now for trustee Orser as president, trustee Curzio,
Melissa Orser.
trustee Douglas,
Melissa Orser.
trustee Grasso,
Trustee Orser.
trustee Magliano,
Melissa Orser.
trustee Orser,
Melissa Orser.
trustee Torpy,
Melissa Orser.
and trustee Wise.
Melissa Orser.
All right, I hereby declare trustee Orser as the president of the Board of Education for the 25-26 school year. Okay, now we're going to do the vice president. Nominations are now open for the office of vice president of the Board of Education for the 25-26 school year. Nominations for office require a second, but there'll be no vote until nominations are declared closed. Is there a nomination for vice president?
Yes, there is. I would like to nominate trustee John Curzio.
All right. Is there a second to the nomination of trustee Curzio?
I would like to second.
Are there any other nominations? There being no further nominations, is there a motion declaring nominations closed?
I would like to make that motion.
Second?
I'd like to second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We will now vote on the nominations by roll call vote. Please indicate the name of the nominee for whom you cast your vote. Trustee Curzio.
I vote for John Curzio.
Trustee Douglas.
John Curzio.
Trustee Grasso.
Trustee Curzio.
Trustee Magliano.
John Curzio.
Trustee Orser.
John
President
Curzio.
Orser. President Orser.
John Curzio.
Trustee Torpy.
John Curzio.
And Trustee Wise.
John Curzio. I
I hereby declare trustee John Curzio, Vice President of the Board of Education for the 25-26 school year. Okay, so we're going to do an oath of office for both of you now. We'll do it together, so when we get to title, just say Vice President or President, or else we have to do it twice, okay? All right, please rise. Raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear
or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge according to the best of my ability
and I
I will faithfully discharge according to the best of my ability
the duties of the position of
The
President
duties
Vice-
of the position of
Vice
President
President
of the Carmel Central School District, to which I am now assigned.
of the Carmel Central School District, to which I am now assigned.
I will now turn the meeting over to President Orser.
Okay, so we've already done 1.07, our oath of our new board members, and I just would like to take a minute to welcome trustee Grasso and trustee Torpy. We are so happy to have you. And we've also done our 1.07, our ex officio members, and again, we are so delighted to have you guys here with us tonight and throughout this school year. So thank you all for attending tonight. We are moving on to 2.0, to the appointments 2.01. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Carmel Central School District approves the following appointments and setting of stipend rates for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Trustee Wise.
So the stipend amounts given here, and I know a number of them are contractual in origin. Can we talk about sort of how these are set and how the ones that are not contract derived are set?
They are contractual, and the ones that weren't were based on market trend so that we could acquire positions.
And this is all as expected during the budget season, I assume.
Absolutely. We
Thank you so
projected
much.
it out based on where we thought we would be, so we're good.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions, oppositions, motion pass. Thank you. 2.02, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints Lauren Santa Barbara, Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, and Elizabeth Kennedy, Assistant Superintendent for Pupil Services, as the Title IX coordinators with ultimate oversight over Title IX. The Board of Education appoints the Title IX coordinator to assemble a team from the administrators and the directors to serve as Title IX investigators, decision makers, and in informal resolution roles. Be it further resolved that the interim superintendent of schools and the superintendent of schools shall serve as the appeals decision maker. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
Now, obviously, intra-year, we'll have to revisit this.
Yes.
After the end of Lauren's tenure here. So.
Absolutely.
All appointments, we put her name, but when we find our new candidate, we will shift everything over. Joanne and I already spoke about that process.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions, oppositions, motion pass. Okay, 3.01. Be it resolved that all board members and all district employees will be bonded for $100,000 under the district's faithful performance blanket bond, and the following positions will be bonded in excess of $100,000 for the school year 25-26 as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
And just for anyone watching at home, the one position that's mentioned as follows is the district treasurer and deputy treasurer, who are bonded in the amount of $1 million. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppositions, abstentions, motion passes. Okay, 4.01. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Carmel Central School District approves the following authorizations for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. So there is a lot of information here, a lot of names, a lot of title coordinators. For people that are new to the board, this is very typical and standard. If there's anything that you have questions on, now's the time to ask. Comments or questions?
Just one quick question.
Sure.
George Fisher Middle School, what does the item in red mean, to be determined?
So we are looking for a new principal, and when we have a new principal's name, it will go there. Okay?
And do we have an acting principal currently at George Fisher?
The principal is there until August,
Okay.
and we are hoping to have someone appointed in July with a start in August,
Thank you.
with a little overlap.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Oppositions, abstentions? Okay, motion pass. Okay, 5.01. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby makes the following designations for the 25-26 school year as listed below as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Again, all just very businessy types of things. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppositions, abstentions, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, request for general action, 6.01. It is a very long one. I'm just trying to see
Summarize.
if I can summarize exactly. Sorry, give me a second. So this is the resolution to certify and recertify lead evaluators of classroom teachers pursuant to education law, section 3012-D, as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Whereas pursuant to the requirements of education law 3012-D and Part 30-3.10 of the Rules of the Board of Regents, and the individuals named below have completed all necessary training to be certified and recertified as lead evaluators of classroom teachers. And therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies and recertifies the following individuals as lead evaluators of classroom teachers: Brian Piazza, Allison Golan, Carrie Weltman, Christopher O'Connor, Joseph Keenan, Shireen Shames, Vincent Fino, John Frotto, Jennifer Darling, Chris Solemn, Jennifer, help me with that last, Oreka, Alexandra, help me with that one,
Chanowski?
Janowski?
Janowski. Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion, abstentions or oppositions? Motion passes. Thank you very much. All righty. Whereas the Board of Education desires to appoint a qualified person to serve as acting superintendent of schools of the district during those times when the interim superintendent of schools, Dr. Erin Meehan Fairbairn, or the superintendent of schools is absent from the district. And whereas the board believes that Ken Silver, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, Human Resources, and Businesses, possesses the qualifications, skills, and experience to serve as the acting superintendent during Dr. Meehan Fairbairn's absence. And whereas Ken Silver has agreed to serve as acting superintendent for the district in addition to his current position during Dr. Meehan Fairbairn's absence. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education, commencing immediately and for the 25-26 school year, hereby appoints Ken Silver to serve as acting superintendent of the schools of the Carmel Central School District to oversee and direct district operations and to provide assistance to the Board of Education during those times when Dr. Meehan Fairbairn is absent from the district, and be it further resolved that when serving as acting superintendent of the schools in Dr. Meehan Fairbairn's absence, Ken Silver shall possess all the authority and responsibilities as the superintendent of schools of the Carmel Central School District, and be it further resolved that in accordance with the applicable provisions of the New York State Education Law, the district shall defend, indemnify, and hold harmless Ken Silver from any claims which may arise in connection with his service as acting superintendent. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions, oppositions? Great. Motion pass. Okay. Oh.
This is the really one.
Wow. Any help from the vice president would be.
You can, I think, just summarize as far as the names.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so high school acting principal resolution. Be it resolved, in the event that Brian Piazza, principal of the high school, is not physically present in the high school on one or more days or portion of during the 25-26 school year, the assistant principal, Allison Golan, be appointed acting principal for the purposes of all short-term student discipline matters pursuant to Section 3214 of the State of New York Education Law. And that's the same, so let me just keep moving. And then be further resolved that in the event Allison Golan, Carrie Weltman, or Christopher O'Connor are unavailable. Okay, sorry, I have to move up because Alice, it's all of them. So in the event that, so be it resolved that in the event Allison Golan and Carrie Weltman are unavailable, otherwise physically present, the acting principal of the building will be Christopher O'Connor. If the three of them are not there, the acting principal in the absence will be Lauren Santa Barbara. Be it further resolved that the district clerk shall forward a copy of the resolution to each of the above referenced people. Can I get a motion?
Then it goes on to
Oh.
the other schools.
Oh, it does? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Middle school. Okay. I'm just going to read it, guys.
You can summarize it.
Be it resolved that in the event the principal of the middle school who is going to be determined is not physically present at the middle school on one or more or portions of a day during the 25-26 school year, that assistant principal Joseph Keenan is appointed, and if Joseph Keenan is unavailable or physically not present, the acting principal will be Cherie Shames, and if she is not available, It will be
Lauren Santa Barbara.
Lauren Santa Barbara. Okay. And the district clerk will be forwarding a copy of this resolution to all those people. Moving on to Kent Elementary and Kent Primary Schools. Be it resolved, in the event that John Frotto at the Kent Elementary School is not physically present at the Kent Elementary School for one or more or portion of the day in the 25-26 school year, that the principal of Kent Elementary School, Vince Fino, will be appointed as acting principal for purposes of short-term student discipline matters. And in the event that John Frotto and Vince Fino are unavailable, it will be Lauren Santa Barbara. And the district clerk will be providing them with copies. Matthew Patterson. Be it resolved that in the event that Jennifer Darling is not available, Matthew Patterson, the assistant superintendent of, okay, so we'll go straight down to Lauren Santa Barbara. Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, please?
Second.
Questions or comments?
One question, I think it's just minor. It says and/or as designated by the superintendent after each of the fallback ones. That just means any other person that
Yeah.
That
in
she
your
does.
judgment is
Myself or
appropriate.
someone else.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions, oppositions, motion passes. Thank you, guys. 6.04. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby designates the Assistant Superintendent for Pupil Services or the Assistant Superintendent for Instruction in their absence to attend last chance resolution sessions or mediation sessions required by IDEA with the authority to execute settlement agreements on behalf of the district following consultation with the superintendent of schools where practicable. Be it further resolved that upon the execution of any settlement agreement as described above, the Board of Education president or vice president, in their absence, shall be immediately notified of the contents of the settlement agreement as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppositions, abstentions, motion passes. 6.05. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Carmel Central School District adopts coverage provided by Section 18 of the New York State Public Officers Law upon officers and employees of the school district, defined as members of the Board of Education, school district officers, and superintendents of schools, school district employees, and volunteers expressly authorized to participate in school district activities, as well as perform officers or employees. This coverage shall supplement and be in addition to the defense and indemnification protection conferred upon the officers and employees by other enactments or provisions of law as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Abstentions, oppositions, motion passed. 6.06. Be it resolved that the Board of Education will continue with the following committees for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions or comments?
I know that there was a suggestion brought forward by administration concerning the Facilities and Transportation Committee, that being one, and the Audit, Finance, and Personnel Committee, that being the other, whether or not it would be advantageous for us to combine those committees into, I think it was suggested, of facilities and operations or something of the like.
Yes.
We wanted to ask you if you're interested in that and have a discussion around it. We thought with things coming up, with new capital construction projects potentially, that having a meeting every single month would be really helpful.
So then it would combine these two committees, and then instead of meeting once a month for facilities and transportation and once a month for audit, finance, and personnel, we would meet twice a month,
Yeah.
and then be able to discuss all items under that purview.
Yes.
I don't really see
What
a
would the
negative
name
with
So-
that.
We call it facilities and operations, I think is what we said.
So would the suggestion be, for this resolution, because we're not naming the committees, I don't know if it matters, because right, like, there's nothing
It
named.
says with the following committees, and then
It lists them.
Oh, and then public, so John, can you make a resolution to amend this?
Yeah.
So just before I make that, it may be well of us to also include the word audit in there, just,
Yep.
I think the audit committee, well, yes, because we
Well,
have
no, this
audit and
would be-
finance, yes, of
Yeah.
course.
It has to be
That
there,
should
yeah.
stand on its own as
yeah.
well.
So,
The recommendation?
Audit, finance, and
finance.
operations, because operations involves transportation, personnel, all of those pieces.
Buildings and grounds, yeah.
Audit facilities and operations?
so what was the first one you had, Joanne? The first name, suggestion?
Facilities and operations.
So audit finance and operations or audit facilities and operations?
Facilities would be good.
Audit facilities and operations? Okay. So I would make a motion at this time to amend the resolution before us to combine the Facilities and Transportation Committee and the Audit, Finance, and Personnel Committee to become the, help me out one more time, Joanne? Audit, Facilities, and Operations Committee. Thank you.
I support.
So the one,
Second the motion.
Second.
oh yeah,
Okay, so all in favor of the motion, and this is not the motion, so this is.
the motion to amend.
Right, this is just the motion to amend the resolution. So
So
this
I-
isn't a vote on
Yep.
it. So, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions, oppositions? Okay.
No opposition. I'm going to abstain at this time because I do have one question
Okay.
I'd like to address in the larger, and I'll probably vote for the amended
Okay, great. So we now have an amended
resolution.
resolution in front of us, which is, be it resolved that the Board of Education will continue with the following committees for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. So it's policy, special education, support and wellness, and, Joanne?
Audit, facilities, and operations.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Questions or comments?
So the one question I have, or if you want to go first, the one question I have is if this is going to be meeting twice a month, how do we schedule this to provide for the possibility that some board members, some trustees may be members of this committee and of special education support services and wellness?
So I suppose we could cross that bridge once we determine which members are part of which committee. In the previous school year, both the Audit, Finance, and Personnel Committee and the Facilities and Transportation Committee, both of those met at 5:30, just on alternating
Correct.
weeks.
As did special education, and for that reason, for example, I was able to participate in the special education committee, but not audit and finance, and I was able to participate in finance in buildings and
There may also
facilities and
be,
transport.
because now there's only 3 committees instead of 4, there may be.
Other opportunities?
Yeah, we might even just do each in, one,
Exactly.
and meet more often. So with that understood, I'm in support of this motion.
Okay, trustee Douglas. You're okay? Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, oppositions or abstentions? No, we're good? Okay, motion pass. I'm just looking through here. Where is it that we're appointing? Is it here?
Here is where we would discuss who the
Yeah.
chair will be.
Okay,
you know
so
who your
I'm
committee
going to just stick with those 3 committees.
Yep.
And if we could, for 1 second, let's talk about that committee. I don't think we should talk about times at this moment, because we will work out times for whoever is on it. We'll make sure that works for everybody, but
I'm
I'd like
comfortable
to
with that.
ask if the members that were either on Facilities and Transportation or Audit, Finance, and Personnel, are you still, that were currently on it or last year, are you still looking to be on it this year?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we can add 1 more member to this committee. Is there anybody here that would be interested in being on that committee? Huh? You would? Okay. Then I think we have a committee. Awesome. So we need to elect a chair to that committee. Is there anybody that would like to be the chair of that committee?
I would nominate John Curcio for that. His role in, as chair of the audit, as chair of previous audit and facilities work has been successful.
Second.
Okay, so all in favor of John being the chair of that committee? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. John, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to policy. I think I'm the only remaining board member that was on policy, and I would love to stay on it, but Is there anybody else that would like to be on it?
I'd like to be on the policy committee.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'd be one.
Oh, great. Anybody else? So I think we have 3. That's good. Okay, we need a chair.
I nominate Melissa Orson for the chair.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor of Melissa Orser?
Second.
Oh, you need a second.
Second.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All in favor of Melissa Orser being the chair of policy?
Aye.
Okay, abstentions, oppositions, okay. Thank you, guys. I'm going back, because I was the chair for 2 years. I'm going back. Okay, special education support and wellness. I think that Trustee Wise and myself have been on that since its conception. I would love to remain on it.
As would I.
As would you. Is there another member that would like to join it?
I'd like to be on that.
Excellent. Anybody else? Wow, this is
working out.
swimmingly going well. Okay, we need a chair.
I'd like to continue
Remain the
in that
chair.
role.
I would like to nominate Trustee Wise to chair that committee.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Trustee Wise. All right, moving on, guys.
Looks like everybody's on a committee, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Worked out that way.
Great.
And I will ask Ms. Stevens to put that all in a document, and then we will figure out times.
The document is ready here, but do you want to talk about times?
Um,
I think we can do it later.
I think we should do that at a later time.
Okay,
Okay? All right.
thank you.
All right, so where are we? Sorry, guys.
6:07.
6.07. Okay, 6.07. The advocacy liaison is the person, oh no, sorry, that's wrong. Okay, may the Board of Education appoint the Westchester Putnam School Board Association liaison and legislative advocacy liaison for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Or you have to
Second.
name somebody. So
Yeah.
this, you actually have to.
Oh, I have to put a name in there. Okay, so in past, it's been Trustee Curzio. He has done a wonderful job. We get really great feedback from Westchester Putnam School Boards Association. Trustee Curzio, are you looking to remain in that spot?
I'm more than happy to remain in this position.
I'd like to second that.
Yep. So I would nominate you, and we have a second. So all in favor of Trustee Curzio staying there?
Aye.
Okay, so may the Board of Education appoint Trustee Curzio as the Westchester Putnam School Board Association liaison and legislative advocacy liaison for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Can I just ask who seconded that? I'm sorry, I was looking down.
I said second.
Thank you. Okay. Be it resolved that the members, 6.08. Be it resolved that the members of the Audit Committee for the 25-26 school year will be consistent with those of the Audit, Finance, and Personnel Board of Education Committee as, but now we don't have that.
Now we have to
Right,
change.
so.
I need to
we-
change
Yeah,
that.
so we can amend it.
Okay.
Once you finish.
Committee as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, can I get an amendment?
So I move that we amend this to replace the words Audit, Finance, and Personnel Board of Education Committee with Audit, Facilities, and Operations Board of Education Committee.
Great. All in favor of?
You need a
Oh,
second.
second. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Okay. So, be it resolved that the members of the Audit Committee for the 25-26 school year will be consistent with the, go ahead, somebody.
Audit, facilities, and operations.
Board of Education Committee as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Brief explanation of what this is. So the audit committee is, we have to have an audit committee by law, so it has to be consistent with our board committee. The members have to be the same, so just a little piece of information there. All in favor? Aye. Abstentions, oppositions? Motion pass. Great. 6.09. Be it resolved that the Board of Education will continue with membership dues in the New York State School Boards Association and the Westchester Putnam School Boards Association for the 25-26 school year and authorizes attendance at the associated workshops and conferences as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Questions or comments?
So I know last year we whittled this down from a larger group of associations we had been part of in the past in order to be sure we're getting our money's worth. I do think these two associations have both proved of value, and I'm in support of this motion.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions, oppositions, motion passed. 6.10, be it resolved that the Board of Education will continue with authorization to attend New York State Education Department conferences, Lower Hudson Educational Coalition, and New York State Council of School Superintendent conferences, and attendance at workshops and association conferences as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Said at the same time, I don't know how that goes.
It's Michael tonight.
Great. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, oppositions, abstentions, motion passes. 6.11, be it resolved that upon the recommendation of its Committee on Special Education, the Board of Education hereby appoints Committee of Special Education subcommittees in accordance with the regulations of the Commissioner of Education at 8 New NYCRR 200.3 as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. So the content goes on just to, it's the law, who are the members of both the committee and the subcommittee of special education. Questions or comments?
I do have one question. The member of such subcommittee shall consist of one, the parents of the student. We have many students across this country that their guardians are not their parents. Is that,
This is right out of the law.
Right out
so
of the
does
law.
that have to stay?
Yeah.
All right, if that has to stay, that's understood, but I want it to be clear that we have many incredible, incredible families in this community and all communities, in incredible homes with incredible families, where some young men and women are being raised by someone other than their parents.
100%.
That's covered under 7. If you look at it, any person that has knowledge of the child that the child wants on the committee.
Yeah. I would add that in the regulation cited, or the law cited, AMICRR 200.3, there is a definition of parent given, which is very similar to our use of person and parental relationship. I agree that where we have an option, as we do in policy, we work to incorporate that language directly, and strongly support the point Trustee Douglas has made. I do have one other question about this, which is we've discussed several times over the past 2 years formalizing the process of a CISA or one-on-one who is working with the student being part of this meeting where possible. I know that it does raise issues of coverage in some cases where a one-on-one is with the student for part of the day, for example. But I would ask whether we can make that addition, or else if there's any way to ensure that that's possible. I know in the past, just speaking from my own experience, where I've asked for a one-on-one who is working with one of my children to be present, there have been questions of whether it was possible in terms of timing, coverage, or so on, and they were not part of the sort of decision-making about when the meeting would be held.
So I think that that's also covered under 7, but that, I think we can go with policy, because that would be a local thing.
Yep.
This is the state law, and I don't think we can change the state law.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know
but I think we can bring that
Right.
can
back to
acknowledge
policy to discuss.
Right, and as long as, yeah, we have the ability to make additions to the list here, but if policy is a better form from that, I'm comfortable
Yeah.
with that.
Okay, anybody else? Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Abstentions? Anybody? No? Okay, great. All right. 6.12. Whereas the Board of Education has received an updated list of impartial hearing officers for special education matters from the State Education Department, and whereas the Board wishes to conform its procedures for the appointment of the impartial hearing officers in special education matters with Article 89 of the Education Law and Part 200 of the Regulations of the Commissioner of Education of the State of New York, and the policies of the New York State Education Department. Now therefore, in light of the foregoing, it hereby resolves as following. The Board of Education adopts the list of hearing officers certified and maintained by the New York State Education Department to serve as special instruction matters arising in Putnam County as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Oppositions, abstentions, motion pass. Okay. 6.13. Okay, whereas the Carmel Central School District purchases of materials and services are made in accordance with General Municipal Law 5A, and whereas General Municipal Law 103/16 allows the district as a municipal entity to purchase certain materials and services at a price determined to be of best value rather than lowest responsible bidder by the Board of Education. I think that's right? I think I'm good there. Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions, oppositions, motion passes. 6.14, be it resolved that the Board of Education here, Carmel Central School District hereby authorizes the following people to act as the primary and secondary signature for the student activities accounts within their buildings as recommended by the interim superintendent of school. There's a list below. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppositions, abstentions, motion passes. Okay. 6.15, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Carmel Central School District approves the wages for substitute and temporary personnel for the 25-26 school year as detailed in the chart below and recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions, oppositions, motion passes. Great. 6.16, be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the appointment of Capital Markets Advisors LLC as the financial advisors for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, sorry. Questions and comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Abstentions, oppositions, motion pass. All right. 7.01, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are going to move right into our second meeting because we do have an attorney waiting for us for executive session. Okay, guys, is that all right? Okay, everybody knows how to move into board docs into your next meeting over there? Because if not, they got it? Everyone got it?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to try to get it too.
That's the featured.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the July 1st Board of Education regular meeting at the Carmel Central School District High School Library. Ms. Stevens, roll call, please.
Vice President Curzio.
Present.
Trustee Douglas.
Present.
Trustee Grasso.
Present.
Trustee Magliano.
Present.
President Orser.
Present.
Trustee Torpy.
Here.
Trustee Wise.
Present.
I'm also going to ask about the
Yes.
officio students. Trustee Roberts.
Here.
Trustee Prasad.
Present.
Trustee Salisbury.
Here.
And Trustee Felsenfeld.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. 1.03. May the Board of Education recess into executive session for the purpose of receiving legal guidance exempt from open meetings law and discussing confidential managerial staff negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I actually want to add something here. I'm sorry to be discussing a individual, how do we say that one? We're discussing a specific staff member.
An
too.
employee.
An employee.
Yeah, discussing the employment history of a particular
Thank you.
individual.
And discussing the employment history of a particular person that is exempt from open meetings law. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are going to be in executive session, hopefully.
And now you're voting on the
Oh.
actual.
Yeah, right, that was the amendment.
Oh,
and
I'm
now we-
sorry, the amendment, oops, okay. Okay, now I have to say that all again. Okay, okay.
Wait, who did
May the,
Who did the amendment? I had the other ones then. I have Jordy and John for the motion.
Did I
so-
make the amendment?
The
I don't
amendment
know.
You
was,
made the motion.
I made the amendment, right? I made the motion and,
I second it.
Okay,
and,
thank
yep.
you.
Okay. May the Board of Education recess into executive session for the purposes of receiving legal guidance exempt from open meeting law and discussing confidential managerial staff negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law and for discussing the employment history of a particular individual that is exempt from open meeting law. Can I get a motion?
You can just vote.
Oh, just vote. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we will be out possibly till 7, hopefully before. Great. Thank you, everybody, and sorry we were a little longer. Moving on to 1.04, if everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Moving on to our public hearing for our district-wide safety plan 1.05. May the Board of Education open the public hearing for the district-wide safety plan. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so this is where anybody from the public that would like to talk to us about our district-wide safety plan, please come up to the podium. Okay, is there anybody from the board that has anything? Then I'd like to have a motion to close the public hearing for the safety plan.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. All right. Moving right along to 1.07, our new and goods. I have one. Our ex officio student members are here tonight, and I was lucky enough to catch Trustee
Did we budget new chairs? Mine is pretty shaky too.
Torpy from falling. I was lucky enough to come a little early tonight and come to their orientation, and I just want to say just how lucky we are as a community and as a board to have the four of you join us for this year, and to the state of New York for all boards that are having the ex officio members join them through this year, and we look forward to having you. Thank you for your time and commitment. We're just really excited that you're here.
Here, here.
Here, here.
Anybody else new and good? All right. 1.08. Oh, Vice President Curzio, I'm going to let you do what you'd like with this.
I think everybody here is a familiar face in our meetings. I think we could proceed right to...
Terrific. Okay. Open session.
Nobody signed up.
Okay, is there anybody here tonight that would like to address the board on the agenda items? Okay, moving right along. 1.09, board comments. Since we had nobody come up, does anybody have anything that they'd like to say now? Great, moving right along. 2.01, our superintendent's report.
Oh, great. Are we ready?
We are ready.
Great. So thank you very much. June was a wonderful month. And we'll start with the board requested an update on the capital project safety and security. So I put in the presentation the scope of the work. So that work involves swipe access on all internal doors throughout the district, which will allow for greater control, centralized control. Security film on all ground level windows and doors, which will delay entrance into buildings after glass is damaged. Visitor managed system, which allows for a check-in of identification against a database. Integrated lock system, which has the ability to secure buildings remotely. Security cameras, so we're obtaining a greater scope of vision for our hallways and lunchroom and other spaces, which will help us with supervision. And replacement of windows, emergency lights, and occupation sensors in multiple spaces, which will allow for replaced outdated safety equipment. Great. Next slide. So there's been a lot of talk about the fifth grade academy. So there is, the fifth grade academy will focus on the unique developmental needs of students at this age, and will include the following key features. Social emotional support. So Putnam County has a curriculum that they are willing to start with our fifth graders, which is a 2-week program that really builds empathy. So teaches kids at the fifth grade level about being empathetic, understanding others' points of view. So we're excited about that. So a calmer transition. So the students in the fifth grade will be the only grade level entering the building at the start of their school day, which will be at 8:40. They will ride the elementary bus instead of riding the middle school bus, which will allow for the middle schoolers, the 6th through 8th grade, to transition in, have a pause, and then the fifth graders will transition in. And again, at the end of the day, they will leave after the rest of the group. So there's going to be a calmer entrance for them. Elementary school transportation I talked to you about. Research indicates that younger students benefit from traveling with peers of similar age and maturity. So shared transportation with older adolescents can present social and behavioral challenges that are developmentally inappropriate for fifth graders. In a typical district, our fifth graders would be in the elementary schools, and we would like to kind of create a bubble for our fifth grade students and just a little bit slower transition for them. Additionally, there'll be an optimized school day. The fifth grade school day will begin at 8:40 and end at 3:30. This schedule supports students' development for rest and routine, while also providing a chance for all of the fifth graders to participate in clubs and extracurricular activities during their independent study time. So we're excited about that. Not all families are, and so we're really working through some of the concerns. We're going to have a town hall next week on Wednesday at 6:30 at George Fisher Middle School to really talk to families. Some of the concerns are that this is quickly moving, and it is, because we really believe strongly that our fifth grade students currently are some of the lowest performing students in our district. We need to try something different. We need to rethink how we can create supportive avenues for them. At one point in January when we talked, I was hoping that we would be able to move the fifth grade to the elementary buildings so that they stay developmentally at the elementary level. That's not possible currently. So what I'd like to do is create that smaller supportive unit with the way that we can do that. We will be providing supports for our families that have planned on dropping students off at a specific time or picking students up a little later. So we will have before and after, during this transitional year, supports for our family. And we'll be sharing more information about that when we meet with families that are concerned. Additionally, just to share, any family that wants to meet with me and can't make the town hall meeting, I'm more than happy to meet with them to talk through both the research and the rationale and how we're going to accommodate any concerns in our transitional year. Okay? And then we had a wonderful moving up ceremony. The graduates of George Fisher were celebrated for the 8th grade, who have grown tremendously since they entered the school just a few years ago. Dr. Newville shared, I've watched you become the change agents. I can't wait to see how you change Carmel High School and the Carmel community. 8th grader Ava Hall, who is the government officer president, told her fellow graduates, this is the end of a chapter we have written together. And trustee Jason Paraskiva, previous trustee Jason Paraskiva, really wowed the crowd when he told them that he had graduated from George Fisher Middle School 41 years ago and that his son was graduating. He shared, to stand here both as a trustee and as a parent is an experience I will treasure forever. Then he noted how much has changed in those 4 decades and encouraged the graduates to embrace their future. What hasn't changed is how much the people around you matter. Trustee Paraskevas said, walk forward with courage. The road ahead is full of possibilities. Next slide. It was a wonderful night, and it was just really, really wonderful. There were 301 graduates who now be transitioning on to Carmel High School. We're excited to see them and see the class of 2029 graduate.
No.
All right. And that concludes my presentation for tonight. Any questions from anyone? Any questions? No?
Great, thank you so much.
Great.
Okay, moving on to 2.02, compliments and complaints.
I had 2 this month, and both were compliments. Oh, no, that's not true. One was a compliment that was about one of our cleaning staff at George Fisher Middle School. And the counseling staff wanted to just, admire the work and just share how great this individual has been this year. And the other one was really interesting. We often get confusion between Carmel School and California. So it was a complaint about a bill not being paid, but it was the good news.
Wasn't
it was
us.
Carmel Unified and not us. So
Yay.
those are the 2. And for the new trustees, I usually pass the folder around so you can see directly the information. I keep all of them in there so you can review them at any point.
So no actual complaints.
No.
Look at us. Thank you. Okay, moving on to 3.01, our Facilities and Transportation Committee met. I don't know if there is anybody that wants to report out, or the minutes will be adequate.
I think the minutes are adequate.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to 4.01. We have Mr. Wade, Director of Human Resources and Technology, who is going to present to the board recommendations to begin recording and translating Board of Education meetings, and I think also talking to us about the multi-factor authentication. Welcome, Mr. Wade.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. There have been questions of how can we record and translate committee meetings that the board has on a monthly basis. So I've been working with Joanne Stevens, the board clerk, to make sure that our recommendations are the most practical possible to ensure that each time there's 100% continuity and execution in having the committee meetings recorded. So we use many services through the Lower Hudson RIC. One of them is Panopto, and Panopto is a software program which records and stores video. Within that suite of software products, there is Panopto Capture. It is a much more simplified version than is used to fully record the Board of Education meetings, because at the board meetings, they are also streamed live, and so there's a greater amount of interconnectivity. But with Panopto Capture, because it is part of the suite, there's no additional cost for us to use it, so that is of great benefit. In using it, I've worked with the tech team and Joanne, and each of the folders for the committee meetings can be set up ahead of time. And so they're in a file that either the administrator or a clerical person could get to quite easily. And going through the process of starting the video, it would really be just hitting record. One of the advantages of this is that it progressively stores the video, so there is not a long wait time at the end. One of the concerns was that the committee meetings stop, and there isn't a great deal of time between the full board meeting starting. And so it cannot be turned off until it says that it's ready to go. But really, in working with Lyric, that usually takes 3 minutes or less, so that there isn't really a concern about having someone to have to stay behind to make sure that we would utilize this product. So there are some challenges. We were asked to research many different ways and then develop a recommendation to you. So there are challenges with live streaming and recording simultaneously. As I said, for the board meeting, there's a whole different setup that then individuals are here to manage and make sure works correctly. With the live streaming, if we use different products such as YouTube or something like that may be free, there is a proprietary method where YouTube actually owns all of the material. And so in discussing with Joanne, really our recommendation is to focus on recording them. We can put them up in a folder in Panopto the very next day, and so they would be quickly accessible to the public without a great deal of cost or additional personnel. Personnel within the tech department can train any of the individuals, whether it be assistant superintendents. Joanne is already an expert at recording, so we can make sure that it would always work. For the supplies, if we go with just the recording, all we would really need is an additional laptop. And I gave a price of one of the new models of laptops. We could use items that we already have, but I thought that really it wouldn't be a great expense to dedicate a laptop just for the recording features. And it is not. That would encompass all of the expense for just recording. So it would be very simple in the end. I was also asked to discuss translation, and with translation, there would be a requirement to have an additional laptop. One laptop could not simultaneously record and then translate at the same time with two programs open. But as you can see at the board meetings, we found a mechanism to do this quite seamlessly. Initially, with the Microsoft products, there was a mechanism where you could display a QR code and then individuals could have it on their phone as well. Since we initially started, Microsoft changed the delivery method, and now it is through Teams. And so it's necessary to log into Teams and display the translation, something like this. There are mechanisms and choices I'll get to if there was a desire to have individual tablets, for example, that audience members could access who came to committee meetings. But then there will be more of a process through that I'll go over. So in order to have the translation with Teams account, they're only $1.75 per month. My recommendation is that all of the board members, all of the assistant superintendents have the license. It is person-specific as opposed to device-specific. And in that way, for a very low cost, you could always guarantee that someone would have it in case someone wasn't able to come or if there was an issue. And with that, there could be translation at every meeting. One of the, there are two mechanisms. If we display just as we are here, because we were able to purchase a television prior to this meeting. It was set up to be presented a couple of times. We have worked on, at the district office in the executive committee room, having a TV displayed with a laptop. And so typically the policy committee meetings are there, and that will easily be set up because it will be a permanent fixture and can easily be used. Typically, the other committee meetings happen at the high school. The techs from the high school have worked very diligently to research and recommend what they believe would be best, that they could ensure that they would be able to set up prior to each committee meeting. And so the recommendation for translation is to have a portable projector and also a portable screen on wheels that they could easily set up, and then the translation would happen as you see here, that it would be live. Again, as I had said, really the biggest expense will be if we both record and translate. It will require two separate laptops so that the programs are running independently. But we're confident that this is a proposal without a great deal of expense that could be very efficient, and we could ensure that there would not be issues in setting it up, that it would be very simple.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
So the one question I have now, what product do we use when we stream these meetings?
It is a more complicated version of Panopto because the live streaming is happening simultaneously and you have personnel that integrate it.
Yeah, and I know we have, obviously a much more sophisticated AV set up here than a laptop with the camera, but is the streaming software able to run on a laptop with the camera?
It would. You would need yet a third laptop to live stream, and it would not integrate with the Panopto Capture, which is a very streamlined version of the software. And so that is one of the challenges, that the more complex the implementation, the more there would really be a requirement to have more personnel present to make sure everything was integrating together.
But if we were able to get to a point where we were using Panopto Stream, would that also include Capture? Because we're capturing these meetings and streaming them at the same time?
It's in the same suite of products, but it is a different version. So,
but does it include the capability to do Capture?
We wouldn't use Capture at all. We would just use the more sophisticated version of Panopto.
Right.
That we
no, I don't
have.
mean the software named Capture. I mean the Panopto Stream is capable of both streaming and capturing a meeting.
We would stream in a different way if we went that direction.
I think that when you stream something, it is captured.
Right, that was my question. Yeah.
Yes.
So when you capture something, it's not necessarily streamed.
Right. So we wouldn't need necessarily, if we had one laptop running the more sophisticated software, we wouldn't need a third laptop also running the Capture software.
It's possible.
And the only other thing I would say on a positive note, it sounds like based on the decisions made earlier in this meeting, there will now most likely not be two committees occurring at the same time, which obviously raises the possibility of having one room that's already set up in each.
Okay, that would be excellent. Yes.
Okay, anybody else, any other questions?
Thank you.
So, I mean, I think that just to sum this up is that the board for a long time has looked to record committee meetings and have them available for the public. I'm not saying that live streaming wouldn't be a great thing, but we've discussed recording them. That was what we discussed and what we agreed to do. So I think we should at least, if that sounds somewhat simple, we should at least agree to start trying the process at our committee meetings of the recording and the translation. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Well, I would say that for a year, we did in fact both stream and record the policy committee meetings.
I don't think did.
And we had people joining on Zoom.
Yes, we
yeah.
Zoomed, but that wasn't live streaming, right? That was Zoom.
No, any member of the public could join, and it was in a seminar mode where they could see but not participate in the meeting.
Right.
So from that point of view, I would hope we could get at least that capability.
Streaming, capturing, all of the work that goes before that hits the computer is the same. So, you know, you need to have a camera, you need to have proper audio that's captured or it's streamed at the end is really just which buttons you push and where you're sending it out. So it's not complicating things all that much. Right?
So maybe I'm misunderstanding then, because I feel like the presentation we just had was about recording, not about streaming.
It was both. He talked about both.
But his recommendation is that we're recording.
I believe he gave us options. He said we could record or stream, record and stream, and he gave us solutions for all of the potentials.
What I would recommend is beginning with recording, because that is the simplest, and then we can certainly expand to live streaming and recording if that's the desire.
Well, I think we have to decide what it is we want.
Well, let's start with that. The expert is recommending that
That's
we
what,
start
well,
with
that's what I'm
recording.
saying. I heard that your recommendation was to start with recording.
So I hear that, but my understanding is if we follow your recommendation and go with Panopto Capture for the recording, that's a product that is not capable of streaming?
Correct.
So if we later wish to stream, we would have to also redo how we do capture.
Correct.
I would just like to point out that I know you mentioned YouTube, and it does have its pitfalls, but YouTube would solve a lot of these problems. It can stream and capture at the same time. It can do live closed captions. It can do live translations and closed captions. It is true they do own, they filter content, and they could flag content. I don't think anything that happens at our meetings would ever be flagged. It's more,
Not sure.
well, no, that's more for, rights of media. So, for instance, if we played a song during this meeting that the YouTube algorithm picked up and flagged as, we were playing without a license, that's the type of scenario where YouTube copyright would come into play. I would like to see us investigate YouTube a little bit more. I think it's readily available. It's accessible to everyone. Everyone knows how to use it. Pick it up on their phone. They didn't have to sign in and look through the website, and bunch of ways to skin a cat, of course. Again, I think we should look into YouTube as an option.
One of the problems with YouTube is it's not EdLaw 2D compliant.
It's not what?
It's not EdLaw 2D compliant.
So
That-
is Panopto?
It is.
How accurate is it?
In recording?
Yeah, for translations.
Well, for translations right now, we're using Microsoft, so we're not using Panopto to translate. The Panopto is strictly the mechanism to record the video and store it.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood what you were saying. What did you say? YouTube is not?
EdLaw 2D compliant. That's my understanding.
So-
Because of, anything that we're utilizing, we have to make sure that we're complying
ADA,
with.
is that what you're talking about?
No,
What
EdLaw
is that?
2D.
Can you just
It means
explain?
that any platform that potentially could sell information or student information or anyone's information, there's a lot more to the complexity of the law, but we're not able to use it in New York State in school.
Interesting. Okay.
So Yeah, just the whole idea of Ed Law 2D, it's just unauthorized release of personally identifiable information. We would relinquish all of that control via YouTube. And we can't do that.
Okay.
But that's,
How would you relinquish the control exactly?
well, that's, I think that
I think
we
we can
look
get a
at
legal
that.
opinion on
Yeah.
that. That's something we
Yeah.
could get a legal opinion on.
And we can also, we're connected with the Regional Instructional Technology, the RIC, that you were sharing. We can run it past them as well to see.
Okay.
But that's my first understanding, is that was one of the reasons.
I know many other districts use YouTube. so
Yeah, I'm wondering how they get around it.
How do they do it?
Or if they can. We should find that
They're
out.
doing it.
Yeah.
But Ms. Torby brings up a good point. A lot of districts, the way I'm aware they use it is for sporting events. I don't know if they use
Board
them-
meetings.
Yeah, so.
For sure, board meetings.
Yeah.
100%. I've seen board meetings on YouTube.
So, a question, so we know what, because we are going to quickly be at our first committee meeting. It goes quick. The Panopto capture, that is something that's accessible to us right now. We don't have
Correct.
to buy it. We already are paying for the license
Yes.
now. Can it be used? I hear the expense is $500 and something per, but you also said there are some laptops that are hanging
Correct.
around, so we could really up and do it for almost nothing while
Absolutely.
we're investigating everything else.
We absolutely could do
So
that.
I think that
Yes.
that might be our best option if we could start knowing that we're going to at least have a translation and recording. We're not going to invest any money in a laptop, because if the only thing that laptop is doing is running one program, I think we could use a laptop we have already. And could we ask you to do some more research for what trustee Torpy is asking for?
Absolutely.
And come back and present to us,
Yes.
maybe in our August meeting.
That would be absolutely
Thank you
fine.
so much. And
So-
now, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think that would address my concerns. I do want to make sure we are revisiting the question of streaming, and the only reason I raise this, and I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, in the 23-24 school year, we did a pilot program of recording and streaming. We were able, using Zoom as the software at that time, to record and stream all policy committee meetings for that year. That ended up falling out of the budget for this year, largely because of the larger number of committees we had at that time. But now we've budgeted for the year to come. I'm hoping we can get back to that level of capability that we had 2 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you
I
so.
actually have two
Yes,
sort of
please.
technical questions. Thank you, Mr. Witt.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
The first one is, just to be clear about this process, the Panopto capture would capture the video, and then it would be passed off to a Microsoft product which would do the translation.
They would run simultaneously. So right now, as we're doing right at this meeting, we're using Microsoft to translate. So they'd be completely independent of each other.
And the second question is, would people accessing the meetings, this is for public access, right, have to have Microsoft Teams available, or would the school district be able to make that available to people who accessed our site?
It would only be used for translation, and it would only, in going with what you're displaying, be for those who actually came to the meeting.
Great, thank you.
I would just like to jump in for a second that a real quick internet search, and Ms. Torpy's 100% correct. There are a lot of school districts that are using the YouTube, and that would be a great additional resource to explore.
Great.
Yeah, no,
May
good
I
point.
just, so with Panopto, when you capture and then it's stored, uploaded, however, the live translation is not embedded in that capture from Microsoft, correct? So the people who are going to watch that meeting later on don't have access to the translations that were provided live.
I believe that that is accurate. I can follow up on that and see.
That's
Because
a big issue.
I don't know, Joanne, do you know if that
It's another problem
If-
at YouTube itself.
The plan is
And
that
the
it's going
Zoom
to be on a
software.
totally different
screen, right?
So that it's not capturing it because it's on a different.
But
Yeah, no, I understood.
But-
I just wanted to
right.
clarify.
Right.
And I think that was something we even discussed. So like right now, there's a translation, but when people watch this tomorrow, there's no translation. But we did talk about the fact that they can,
There's closed
So
captioning.
there's closed captions in their own language.
Right, so the Panopto stream software, which we use for these meetings, does in fact translate and and
And
closed
closed captions, correct.
in the, I believe only in the capture after, which is why we have these for the moment up.
Right. So there
But-
will be a,
It's not great.
So we would,
It's
I
not
agree,
great?
it's not a, we've seen issues with this, we've seen issues with that. That's a whole larger issue about whether machine translation is ready for prime time. But the more basic issue here is 2 years ago, we were successfully streaming and capturing with Zoom's capability to do machine translation, which again
Right.
is subpar, but it exists. And it sounds like not all the pieces of that are present in this solution.
If I could jump in for that one, because I was doing that then. It was, we were using Zoom and Panopto. They were running at the same time.
Okay.
So it was set up, and it required links. So you had to have a link to zoom in to watch from home, and then you had a link to watch the recording. Two different recordings. And there was just a lot of setup, because you had to set it up, a webinar here, you had to set it up in Zoom and in Panopto, and do it all together, and then the next day, there was some work to be done.
Maybe
after
YouTube could fix it
A little
all.
bit more technical. It wasn't as simple as all of it being boom, Zoom, because that wasn't storing it on Panopto. So I'm not the tech person, but this is what our tech department at the time, which Dr. Wade was not here, had set up for us. And that is what we were doing.
YouTube would solve a lot of these problems.
Yeah, there was some real concerns about some of the guys in our tech department, when they talked to me about it anyway, they had some real concerns about the fact that we lose control. I mean, if
On
somebody
YouTube,
had,
they would
somebody
have
had
to
an issue
present
with
that
the-
to me because that's not the case.
so let's,
You can edit, you can delete as you see fit. If you wanted to remove a video, you can do that. For privacy concerns, it's well within your rights. YouTube never stops you from removing videos.
No, I think they were concerned that if they removed it, we would lose it. That's what they were concerned about. If
Well,
they
it would only
removed
be, well, I would always suggest that we be backing up all of our content wherever we're storing it. We should never be relying on a cloud service for anything. All of our content should be backed up locally. I don't know if that's the case, but that should happen. We should never
YouTube was
rely on a
storing
cloud
it.
service in general. A cloud service could go belly up at any time. There goes all your content. So, we should be storing this all locally in general. And then if YouTube ever did pull a board meeting, which I think would be very unlikely for whatever reason, it would have to be something that violated copyright law, infringed on copyright, something that went against their code of conduct. I don't think we would violate any of those things at a board meeting.
so it sounds like we have some more research to do.
let's do that.
But we have a plan for at least our first committee meeting. So thank you
Yes.
so much.
Absolutely.
I'm going to move us along to 4.02 because it is your, we're requiring you to give us another presentation.
Give me a second to open the other one.
How are we holding up? Good? Okay. Checking on 'em. You guys already know this procedure, right? Sure. Multi-step authentication, okay.
So there's also a recommendation for board members to begin using multi-factor authentication when using either their own laptop or our laptops with all of the information stored. It increases security greatly. So passwords are easy to guess and often attainable. Hacking has become an issue that is much more commonplace, and public schools certainly are an area where hackers have been able to successfully infiltrate. And multi-factor authentication is something that can address those issues. So there are essentially two ways in which multi-factor authentication can be addressed, either using a token which is being passed around or an app from Microsoft that you can download to your personal phone. And individuals could either use one or both of these methods to use it. If there's some resistance for individuals to use their personal phone to download the app, the token that is being passed around certainly is a very viable alternative. So everyone else in the district that are employees currently use multi-factor authentication to address the concerns of password access. So if you have, and if you use the token, it's simply pushing the power button and you're presented with a 6-digit code that lasts for 60 seconds that you would put into the computer when you're asked to authenticate. Really, the only downside to the token is if you forget it. If you put it on your keychain, then you can't access it. The app would be downloaded to your personal cell phone, and if you are someone who always carries their cell phone and can't live without it, there's a greater likelihood that you would bring it with you, but that really is the only difference between either method. If you use the app on your phone, when you try to enter, the app itself will pop up and ask for the 2-digit code that's displayed on the computer screen that you would enter into your phone. So they're both very simple to use, and it would greatly increase security to the network from the district perspective.
Okay. Anybody have questions?
Just one, has there been a history of this kind of problem for us in the past?
There have been attempts at both phishing and gaining entrance recently, because we have gone to multi-factor authentication for employees. We've been able to secure our network in every instance.
So I have one further question. When the application you're using for this is Microsoft Authenticator?
Yes.
Okay, so it does not require a profile install on a user's personal device, only the application install itself?
I believe so, yes, but I can follow up with that.
Thank you.
It just gives you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I think we have to this is a recommendation. So I think we have to either, the board has to discuss whether we want to do this recommendation or not. I'd like a live demonstration, because, I don't really understand. Do we have to, I think I know the answer now, but what if I'm looking at my Outlook on my phone? Do I have to do it there too?
If you consistently have a device, it won't ask you every time. But if you go to a different device, which is what hackers typically would do, then you will have to do it every time. But there will be a window where you may be asked to do it, and then if you use the same device every time, it won't ask you for up to 60 days. So.
Yeah.
60 days.
Oh.
Is this more secure than the YubiKeys?
I can get an answer to you with that. I can research it and get back to you.
Yeah, in particular, YubiKeys, most models of YubiKey will not support phones. So this support works both in a mobile context and in a PC context. I'd also note that for better or worse, we are on a strongly Microsoft platform, and Microsoft, as ever, favors their own device in their own ecosystem. Right. So, for example, when you click on Outlook on the phone, to the president's point, it will automatically jump over to the app, authenticate you, and jump back without you needing to know anything.
Oh, okay. As long as it's easy. So when would we have to do this?
What I would do is bring a tech to a board meeting. people could choose which one they wanted, and if anyone needed any assistance in downloading the app, or I will bring the tokens with me and we would just set it up.
Okay, so shall we try to do that for our August meeting? Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank
right,
you.
great.
So we're gonna hear lots from you in our August
Yes.
meeting.
Good.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Wade. All right. Moving right along to 4.03, public participation at meetings. This was asked to be put on our agenda from Vice President Curzio, so I'm going to open it up to Vice President Curzio.
Thank you, Madam President. For those following along, this is in regard to Policy 1230, public participation at board meetings. Of course, there has been much discussion and debate regarding specific points within the policy and whether or not they should be considered, whether or not there should be amendments considered for them. I do want to start off, and of course we'll get in more to the specifics of the amendments, but this specific policy, since I was first elected to the board in 2016, has, I think, tripled in length. It's become very complex, very wieldy. Just it goes on. And I think that, number one, in order to go back to a very concise policy would benefit not only the board, but the community. I think it would, first and foremost, help to bridge the trust divide. I think it would increase trust between the board and the community. And of course, we are, as school board members, the closest governing body to the people, arguably closer than a town board, most certainly closer than a county legislature or the state legislature. It's incumbent upon us always to consider public comment, opinions, viewpoints while making our decisions. People have, in my view, a right to come to our meetings and express themselves freely and openly with as few restrictions as possible. Because again, we are the elected representatives of everyone watching out there, all 30,000 people of the Carmel Central School District. And in order for me to be able to do my job as an elected representative, and I assume for all of you to be able to do yours, we need to be able to hear from the people uncensored. I know Trustee Wise may want to speak first about what I've referenced originally, going back to a more concise policy. And then from there we can talk about some of those amendments that I referenced.
Yeah, so I want to just echo what what Vice President Curzio has just said, and emphasize that we work for the public. We work best when there is an open dialogue between us and the public. And while I think that every change in the policy, which was made over the two years that I've been on the board so far, was well-intentioned, I think the net effect is that the policy has become exceedingly complex. And we've heard again and again from people, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Well, I don't know if this is something I'm allowed to speak to. And unfortunately, I think that erodes public trust, and it erodes the quality of the communication between us and the public. With that in mind, I would like to make a motion, but if there's any discussion first.
I think this would lead to some good discussion.
Good. So I'm going to start as a baseline. I'm proposing that we revert the policy to where it was when I joined the board 2 years ago. I'm going to read the proposed policy, and I do have a copy for Joanne and anyone else who wants it.
Can you pass out the copies, please?
Absolutely. So,
And just so everybody that would like to look up, it's policy 1230.
Yep.
If anybody wants to see the current policy.
so when I joined this board 2 years ago, the policy was as follows, and had been so for a substantial period before that, not just as Vice President Curzio notes for as long as he's been on the board, but in fact for a number of years before that. The policy was, in its totality, speakers are limited to 5 minutes each and have the right to speak without interruption. Speakers may comment on matters of public interest involving school operations and programs. No district employee or student may be commented on or identified by name or situation. Complaints concerning school personnel, students, and school matters should be made in accordance with the relevant district policies. All speakers are to conduct themselves in a civil manner. Comments and questions should be made in a respectful manner. Obscene language, libelous statements, threats of violence, and statements advocating racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice will not be tolerated. The president shall be responsible for the orderly conduct of the meeting and shall rule on such matters as the time to be allowed for public discussion and the appropriateness of the subject being presented. The president will provide a single warning to the speaker if they violate any or all parts of this policy. After the warning, the president can, at their discretion, take appropriate steps to terminate the speaker's presentation. If decorum is not maintained, the president or any board member may call for the meeting to be adjourned. So I move that we adopt this in place of the current policy 1230 and use that as a basis for further amendment.
And waive the second reading.
And waive the second reading.
I will give that a second. So I think where myself and Trustee Wise are coming from with this, we would at first, so this is a multi-step process over the next several minutes. This, as Trustee Wise mentioned, we would like to return this being our baseline. And then we can, of course, there's a couple amendments that we would like to discuss within this, but this is a much more concise policy that I think is really captures the essence of what it's trying to relay as far as public participation in a much more concise manner than our current policy does. The current policy is over 2 pages long. It goes on to the 3rd page. Again, I don't question the intentions of anyone that has had a part in expanding it or changing it, but it just doesn't work, in my view, for this school district and this school board.
So we have a second on the table, so I'm going to ask for a vote, okay?
May I ask for
a roll call?
Discussion?
Oh, would you like discussion?
I would.
Okay.
So I have particular issue with this being brought up the way it is. This is the first that I'm seeing this. There's no time being allotted to go through the existing policy and the proposed. I think to put it out and waive a second reading is dismissive of the current protocol that we have in place for policy, and as a procedural matter, I do not support it.
Trustee Douglas, this has been discussed at length numerous times at numerous meetings. I respect your difference of opinion on it, but I do not believe it's a fair statement to say that there hasn't been time to discuss this. You've been in board meetings, in board discussions on the same side of the issue that you are now, in opposition to it, which is fine. Again, I respect that.
I did not say I was in opposition to it.
There's amendments within that, within this policy that you've been very clear that you have been opposed
I
to.
did not say I was in opposition.
I'm gonna ask for decorum, because what we need to do is, thank you, Trustee Douglas, for your comments about the procedural piece, and we will be able to discuss, depending on how this vote goes, obviously more about this. Is there anybody else that has what is on the table right now is to replace our current policy with what is in front of us and to waive a second reading? Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, roll call vote, please, Ms. Stevens?
Vice President Curzio?
Aye.
Trustee Douglas?
Based on the way this is being brought up procedurally, no.
Trustee Grasso?
Aye.
Trustee Magliano?
Aye.
President Orser?
No.
Trustee Torpy?
Yes.
Trustee Wise.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed.
So,
Madam President, I request recognition.
Vice President Curzio?
Thank you. The first amendment that I would like to make concerns the restriction on the use of names in public comment. Let me rephrase, concerning the use of district employee names. No district employee, for this case, it doesn't apply to the students, no district employee may be commented upon or identified by name or situation. I would like to read, which I think captures my feelings on it, an email that I had sent previously, the last time this was discussed. The Board of Education is a governing body comprised of elected officials. District employees are public employees. Members of the public should be able to express how they would like for their elected officials to vote, for instance, on a public resolution before a public board scheduled for a public vote in a public setting. I also believe that constituents should be able to comment upon district employees by name who are sitting at the table with us at Board of Education meetings. The superintendent, assistant superintendents. These individuals regularly make presentations, for instance, at Board of Education meetings, and constituents, our constituents, regularly comment upon and ask questions, for instance, of these presentations, which those questions are in accordance with Policy 1230. It seems rather ridiculous to me, frankly, that a constituent should not be allowed to comment upon a district employee by name. Our policy already includes the following. All speakers are to conduct themselves in a civil manner. Comments and questions should be made in a respectful manner. Obscene language, libelous statements, threats of violence, and statements advocating racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice will not be tolerated. The current policy also states the process to be followed should someone have a complaint regarding school personnel. With the above protections already in place, my position is that there should not be additional barriers to prevent a constituent from making their opinion on a resolution, for instance, before the Board of Education known to their elected officials. As with any violation of Policy 1230, quote, the president will provide a single warning to the speaker if they violate any or all parts of this policy. After the warning, the president can, at their discretion, take appropriate steps to terminate the speaker's presentation, unquote. I recognize that there is a concern amongst some board members that there could be a potential for a member of the public to abuse the proposed change to this policy. In my view, though, a potential for a violation that may or may not occur would not warrant curtailing the First Amendment right of our constituents to make their government aware of their opinions on the Board of Education's public resolutions and public business. The Board of Education cannot control what everyone may or may not say at the microphone. Even in the policy's current form, a constituent could theoretically approach the microphone and state names of various district employees and or make libelous statements before it would be possible to terminate their presentation. Our policy states what is and what is not permissible at a public meeting for the purpose of protecting our district. However, the district cannot be held responsible for a violation when there is a good faith effort made to enforce said policy. I will also note as a point of interest that members of the public regularly commented on district employees by name at least as far back as 1918 under Board President McCown for over 100 years from 1918 through 2021, 103 years. Names were used without issue. For those that have brought up, well, What do other districts do? Our neighbors to the north, the Wappinger Central School District, is the second largest school district outside of the Big Five in New York State. Their policy allows for the use of names. I am the only board member that served, well, with the exception, I think, one meeting that the president was on, but the only member that really had any time in service when there was a policy in place that allowed our constituents the freedom to use names, and there was never an issue with this. I think that there was an overreaction to a viral moment that led the board to restrict the policy further and further. But I think that we have an obligation as elected representatives to honor the spirit of the First Amendment and to ensure that our constituents are able to readily communicate and make their voices heard to their elected Board of Education. So if anybody else has, I can make the amendment, or if Trustee Wise would like to, and then we can see if there's a motion and a second.
So
A motion, if you want a second.
I have a couple. So right now, we're just discussing, well, I understand its names, but we're not, right now, we're just discussing no district employee or student. So to me, I have a real issue if we allow a forum where one parent that's mad at another student can come up in our forum and talk about
Yeah, I'd like to
students'
speak to
names.
it.
So I have the
So
wording.
that is what I would like to know, what we're discussing, because
Correct.
we are here to protect students.
Absolutely, completely agreed. To address your concern, Madam President, I would offer the following motion. So,
I have it in front of me if you want me to move in a second, or vice versa.
I have it. So the current wording is no district employee or student may be commented upon or identified by name or situation. I make a motion to strike that sentence from the policy and replace such sentence with no student in the Carmel schools shall be mentioned by name except by a person in a parental relationship to that student, and would waive the second reading of such amendment.
Second. I second this motion.
Okay, so comment, I like the language that we put in our policy that we just got rid of, about parents. And what it says is, parents are reminded to take great caution before sharing personal information regarding their children. That, to me, is a very important piece to have here. So if you can amend your language to include that cautionary statement about the student, because just because a parent has the right to talk about their student, we have an obligation to protect that student. So if we can include the cautionary statement that we are, I'll read it again, parents are reminded to take great caution before sharing personal information regarding their children. So I would like to ask you to
Yes.
amend your language.
So, without objection, I would withdraw my current motion.
Thank you.
And I will subsequently make a motion that would strike the sentence from the policy, no district employee or student may be commented upon or identified by name or situation. It would be replaced by the following sentences. No student in the Carmel schools shall be mentioned by name except by a person in a parental relationship to that student, period. Parents are reminded to take great caution before sharing personal information regarding their child, parenthesis, REN, close parenthesis, period, and waive the second reading.
I would,
Well, it needs a second before discussion.
I'll second for discussion. I would suggest that this is a very good advisory to a parent for us to include in instructions we place on the podium or even read before the meeting. I would suggest that it not be added to the policy. And my argument, my reasoning behind that is that we want the policy to be concise and specific to what parents are allowed and not allowed to do. I think to some extent we always have to trust parents to be the adults in the situation, and not, I worry about any situation where someone reading the policy might believe they were not allowed to say something that they desperately needed to share because it might be construed as personal information.
And I share those sympathies, Trustee Wise, and I do trust parents, but I do think that the president made a good point with including that sentence in that motion.
Yeah, I would support the motion in either form. I would say that I would caution that there is a concern here that we keep this as simple and concise as possible and not include statements that are not language about what people are and are not allowed to do.
Trustee Douglas.
I cannot stress enough how dismayed I am at this. Trustee Wise, you referenced 1918 when women weren't
Trustee
even allowed-
Curcio.
Trustee Curzio, I apologize.
Vice
Trustee
President
Wise, I
Curzio, my
apologize.
apologies.
Vice President Curzio, you referenced 1918 at a time when women weren't even allowed to vote. So let's not.
And up until,
Excuse me.
up until
Excuse me.
2021.
Again, I'm going to ask for decorum. Trustee Curzio has the floor. I'm sorry. Trustee Douglas has the floor.
We have a policy committee. We have people who put a lot of time into it. We get first reads so that we as trustees are able to see what's the red line version, what's the newer version. So we have time prior to meetings to sit, to digest, to look things up, to talk to people in the community. We are dismissing and ignoring all of the work that the committee puts in. My dismay at this has nothing to do with the content of it or the changes. It is that we are saying the policy committee is useless here. We are going to do our policies from the table without time for digestion and true time. And that I have significant concerns about.
Thank you, Trustee
I'd
Douglas.
like to be recognized.
You have something?
Yes,
Okay.
may I?
Yes, recognized.
Thank you. I think that Trustee Curzio, Vice President Curzio, made a great point. Not just that this policy had been in place since 1918 and the 100 years after, but also that this policy has been mulled over extensively at length for well over a year. I've witnessed it. I was sitting in those chairs watching this policy be discussed. So for a trustee to say that they haven't had enough time to digest this policy or think about it, that falls on deaf ears over here. So I think that we've all had plenty of time. The trustees that were on the board and the trustees now have had plenty of time to discuss and think about this policy.
Perhaps I should clarify. It is not that I have not had time to mull over and digest the current policy. When policies are brought to the policy board, there are changes, and they're what are called red line versions, so we get to see the changes. It is the changes, not the current policy. I'm aware of the current policy, but we are allotted time due to the good, solid work of the current and future policy committee to look at those changes. To do it from the table, I think is irresponsible.
So I'd just like to respond. The major change being discussed right now is simply an omission of part of the policy and adding part of the previous policy. So there's really nothing new on the table here.
I would also, if I may, Madam
I'm going to jump in here.
Sure.
Since I was the only one on the policy committee for the past 4 years that's sitting at this table, I agree wholeheartedly with Trustee Douglas. This is, and though we've done this before with certain policies, it is not the norm. It is not what we usually do. But the other piece here is this has happened before when we've had changes of boards and we have new perspective from trustees. And it was on our agenda. I just want to point that out procedurally. It was on our agenda. And we did get legal guidance on it. So these are all pieces that I think need to be discussed. I think it's going to come down to our votes. But I also want to just really ask that this is our first meeting together. Can we all please try to be respectful to each other's opinions? Because there are people that are sitting here that have spent 15 hours discussing this policy in policy committee throughout the last 3 years. And to have a vote, which obviously happened and it's different now, but if we can all just hold in our thoughts and in our way that we are communicating with each other, that there are board members that have spent enormous amount of time and work on this policy. Whether or not you agree with the time and the work is irrelevant. We have to respect each other, and we have to get off the ground as a new board with respecting each other, and that's all I'm going to say.
I think beautifully said. I always compliment the policy committee's commitment and work, even when I may not be in agreement with the policy. The policy committee puts in more hours and work than any other committee by far. But I do want to just reiterate a point that you brought up, Madam President. This was not, for instance, snuck onto the agenda. It was properly noticed, as you mentioned. We received legal guidance on it. There's been countless discussions over the past 4 years, at least, regarding this policy. And to my friend, Trustee Douglas's point about 1918, that was the start. It went through 2021, over 100 years after women were given the right to vote. So it was just a historical point that it started in at least as far back as 1918, but it went through 2021. And the only board member that was on the board prior to 2021, and the only board member that lived through this policy, I saw that it worked. It should not have been changed in the first place, and I think it would be a positive development to return to that in this sense through this amendment.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to recognize one more comment on this, and then I'm going to put it up for a vote. Trustee Wise.
Yeah, so I just want to emphasize, I fully recognize Trustee Douglas's concerns that we have a normal procedure for policies in the normal light of things. We quite properly show deference to the policy committee for new matters. This is a question, this particular question of names has come before the board, I believe 9 times in the 2 years I've been on the board. Certainly has come to a vote multiple times before the whole board. It's a example of an issue where there are a wide range of positions across the board, not just across the policy committee. I don't think it's unreasonable to say that this is something that is not going to be resolved by having something move up from committee when it's come before the board and back to committee so many times. I think it is time to resolve this at the board level.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Ms. Stevens to do a roll call vote on this change, or this motion.
Okay, I just need to ask, I don't have a copy in front of me of whatever policy you just adopted. I know it was from 2 years ago.
So that's the old one. The proposed language is as follows on that sheet. Strike the language.
No district employee or student may be commented upon or identified by name or situation.
And replace it with the language, no student in the Carmel schools shall be mentioned by name except by a person in a parental relation to that student. And there's a further sentence.
Parents are reminded to take great caution, or I guess we should actually say persons in the parental.
Guardians?
No, it's the legal language.
Person
Persons in the
in
parental
relations.
since we're changing the words, we should have it right, are reminded to take great caution before sharing personal information regarding their child.
So
I'm going to propose
am
a
I
simpler
wrong?
language. Why don't we just say speakers are reminded to take cautions when discussing their child?
Go ahead, Trustee Curzio, because it was your motion, so.
So, well, just your, Madam President, your thoughts on what Trustee Wise just said before I.
So we've
I would,
already.
I would like the language to be persons in a parental.
Okay, so just from a procedural standpoint, I'm going to, again, if no objection, withdraw my motion.
Before we propose language, I do want to point out we do already have the language person in a parental relationship. We are referring back to that when we say the speaker who's.
But if, I'm willing, if it's
I'm
important
willing
to the
either way,
president, I'm willing to, so
Okay,
I'll
so I'm
withdraw.
recognizing you, Vice President.
Thank you. So I'll withdraw with no objection. And one more time, I will make a motion to strike the following sentence from the current policy. No district employee or student may be commented upon or identified by name or situation. Replace it with the following. No student in the Carmel schools shall be mentioned by name except by a person in a parental relationship to that student. Persons in a parental relationship are reminded to take great caution before sharing personal information regarding their child, in parentheses, REN, close parentheses, and waive the second reading.
You need a second?
Second.
Okay.
Can I just ask one question, Trustee Vice President Curzio?
Mm-hmm.
I got persons in parental relationship are reminded to take great caution before sharing personal information regarding their child. What did you say?
And then
about
parentheses REN, so it reads child, children.
Children.
Yeah.
Okay,
mhm.
I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Can we just do child, since if you're required for each of your children, that covers all of them? I just think it reads better, since we are going to be reading this every night from the table. I'm okay either way. It's fine.
Language is here, let's leave the language. Okay, can we have a vote, a roll call vote,
It has a
please?
second?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I second.
Trustee Wise, give us just a second.
Trustee Curzio?
Aye.
I'm sorry, Vice President Curzio. Give me time. Trustee Douglas?
Again, this is not on the merits of the changes. This is based on the procedure by which we are accomplishing this. No.
Trustee Grasso?
Aye.
Trustee Magliano?
Aye.
President Orser?
No.
Trustee Torpy?
Yes.
Trustee Wise?
Aye.
Okay, before we move on, I'm going to ask our ex officio students, you are more than welcome to stay, but if you would like to leave, you've been with us for over 4 hours, that is also okay. So I just want to let you know that. It is no issue if you leave, but you are more than welcome to stay.
And what a great job you guys have done.
Yeah.
I mean, you've all been so attentive. You've maintained decorum better than some of us, and sometimes we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'd like to second Trustee Torpy's point and also mention that if you guys have a view on anything we're discussing, just a reminder that you are fully entitled, as any of us are, to speak up. Thank you.
That's true.
Thank you.
They will.
Oh,
They'll
I
get
know.
more comfortable and they will.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Safe home.
Okay, are we over this, or is there more to
I
go?
think there's one final one. I'll leave it to,
Okay,
Trustee Wise.
Trustee Wise.
So I'd like to make one final proposal. It's regarding the time limit, and I do feel, we've discussed the time limit a number of times at this table. I do feel that we've had people come up where they were very close to the end of their discussion and were cut off by the buzzer. I also do feel that sometimes people feel they have to fill the
Can
time.
we just have the proposed language,
Right.
please? And then do the discussion, so we can digest the proposed language?
By all means.
Thank you.
So I make a motion. I move that we replace the first sentence of the policy as it now stands with the following. Speakers have the right to speak without interruption and may comment on matters of public interest involving school operations and programs. That replaces the previous language. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each and have the right to speak without interruption. Speakers may comment on matters of public interest involving school operations and programs. There's an addition I would like to make at the end of the policy, and this is recognizing the concern that led to us putting a time limit in place in the first place, was the concern that if we do have a time when many speakers need to speak, there may not be time in the evening to hear them all, or it may interfere with the operation of the meeting. So I propose a solution to this that does not limit speakers in nights like this when there are a small number of people to speak. I propose adding the additional paragraph at the end of the policy, and I quote, "In the event of a large number of speakers being present, or to preserve the orderly operation of this meeting, any board member may introduce a motion to make a one-time change to the format of public comment."
Can you just read that one more time, please?
In the event, here, let me give you a copy.
Oh, if you have that, that'd be better. Thank you.
Can we, so I don't understand exactly what the motion is. Can we do one at a time, please? Because it's
think
very confusing.
I'm comfortable with that. We can separate this.
And one is to leave
Thank you so
out,
much.
if there is a ton of people, then any board member can introduce a change to this to make it successful.
Yep.
I think they are like
Of course.
hand in glove.
So if we want to separate this into two changes, I'm comfortable with that. Would you like to do that?
Review it. But I think they're meant to be
Together, yeah. I
one,
think they address the same issue.
because I think there's a concern if you just eliminate the first
Yep.
component without adding that second component.
Yep.
Where does that leave the board? I mean, if the board wants to vote on it separately, I mean, that's the board's prerogative, but I really feel it goes together.
I propose them together. I think they go together, but if there is a concern, I'm
So
happy
I
to.
have a question, a comment. So can you read the first part again?
Yes, so the language would be, speakers have the right to speak without interruption and may comment on matters of public interest involving school operations and programs.
So I have a question here. As there will now be no time limit, and there is also not anything that would be here that people could speak more than once, what I have seen happen in the past, and this used to happen, Trustee Curzio, because I was at those meetings, 6 people would speak, the second speaker would hear something on the fourth speaker or the fifth speaker, and would get back up. So I would propose, if we're going to change this language, that we keep that speakers can only speak once.
So I think there are 2 cases. There's the case where that happens, and it's a lively conversation that helps us inform us of the public's position and helps us do our job. And there's the case where it's becoming a toll on the successful function of the meeting. I suggest the language at the end exactly to prevent that second case. I think the first case is a net benefit, not a harm. So if
I disagree, because I feel like if that was happening, we don't want to target somebody in our community that has multiple things to say throughout the evening. And even in policies, and we looked at probably 40 of them throughout the state of New York. Almost all of them had either a time limit or that speakers could only speak once. So that's just my 2 cents. I'm sure I'm going to get outvoted, but I wanted to put that out there since I was the one that did all of the research.
I personally feel if you can't get your point across in 5 minutes, maybe you need to be a little more succinct.
That's not my point. My point is, yeah.
I'm making my point.
Okay.
I'm making my point. My point is if you can't get your point across in 5 minutes, you should be more succinct. There should be a time limit. I don't think anybody should be able to get up at the microphone and ramble on at length about anything. I think there should be a time limit overall for public comment on both ends, and I think there should be a time limit for individual speakers.
Great. So what is your suggestion for those 2 things?
My suggestion is 15 minutes at the front, 15 minutes at the back, 3 minutes per speaker. Everyone needs to sign up. That's my suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
It's not a motion, just-
Trustee Douglas, no, well, it's conversation about this motion, so.
Did we get a second to this motion, by the way? I'm assuming it'd be Vice President
Second.
Curzio, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
So
I don't think it did previously.
President Orser has looked into far more policies of this than I have, but when this first came up, I just went online and I probably looked at 20 or 30 districts, and to Trustee Torpy's apologies point, I could not find districts that surpassed 3 minutes. Every district that I looked at, and I would just say, hey, Putnam, Northern, Westchester, Boces, Dutchess, the ones that I could find, it was 3 minutes. And Trustee Torpy, I agree with you in totality. After you pass 3 minutes, make your point. 5 minutes, oh my goodness. And insofar as someone making a motion, we have seen historically trustees making a motion and then they're not being granted it, continuing. We are holding a meeting in public. It is not a public meeting. And if people want to have lively dialogue, that's great. Anyone who knows me, I love it. And I love having conversations with people that I don't agree with. But this is not the forum for the public to be having that discussion. Our superintendent has meetings. Our superintendent regularly says, I'll set something up with you. But public comment is not the time for that. I voted no on the previous amendments to this based on procedure. On this one, I will vote no based on the merit.
Thank you. Who put up the motion?
I put up the motion, and I also move that we waive the second read.
Okay, are you willing to change your motion to add time limits on either length of speaker or length of the actual open session?
No, I think that's counterproductive. And the reason I feel that is if we have so many people who need to speak, that it would in fact run longer than a half hour of total speaking, something we haven't seen in this entire school year. That means something's very wrong, and that's where a special motion, if necessary, would be relevant.
Thank you. Can I ask, go
Just
ahead.
want to comment on
Yes.
this. Thank you, Madam President. So again, I'm the only board member that has seen with any real amount of meetings, public comment without time limits. And it's interesting because when there were no time limits on our public comment, we didn't have the meetings that went until 1 a.m. We were always done by 8:30, 9 o'clock. So the public and the amount of time that they're taking at the microphone is not the reason that our meetings have extended into the late hours of the night or wee hours of the morning. It's just not. It would be factually incorrect to say otherwise. The town of Kent, interestingly, prior to 2013, implemented, much more recent than 1918, implemented a time limit on public comment. And when a new supervisor was elected in 2013,
Keeping us awake.
the town
Motion
board
for a new chair.
So there was a time limit in the town of Kent prior to 2013 for public comment. And when a new supervisor was elected in 2013, January 2014, they moved to repeal the time limit. And I asked that supervisor, members of the town board, who served for 8 years after that, were there ever any issues? And they said in 8 years, they could count on one hand the amount of issues as far as people that went on. And you don't have to have something in the policy where you can say to the individual, Mr. Smith, we very much appreciate the point you've made. I think you've gotten it across very well, but it's time for us to move on. We have other people waiting. There's other business for us to attend to. There's nothing that says that we can't say that, and it's been done by other boards. During the 3 years I was on the board, when there was no public time limit, I cannot recall one instance of abuse of that. And Trustee Wise, just earlier, you had brought up a point that I thought was actually very well taken, and you would say it better than me. But as far as people, when you do put a time limit, sometimes people almost feel obligated that they have to take all 5 minutes, versus when there was no time limit. We had our regular meeting attendees, Mr. Kenny Smith, may he rest in peace. Kenny Price. Thank you, Mr. Kenny Price, may he rest in peace. He always came to our meetings, and he was always spoke, and he was pretty concise. And we had others as well, and it was never an issue. I think that we were in search of, we're trying to find a solution for a problem that did not exist. And to my friend Trustee Douglas's point, the last point I'll make is just because other districts do something or don't do something, I don't want to base our decisions of what we do in Carmel off of somebody else. I don't want to be a follower. I want to be a leader. I want our district to be a leader. I want this Board of Education to be a leader. So I
If I
rest my
may?
case.
Yes, sure.
So, I like and dislike aspects of this proposal. And I want to add this perspective to it. I think that removing the time limits will serve an important function that we need to realize, which is building the trust of the community. People who feel they aren't heard or who've been shut off from being heard will come back. Well, I'm not going to talk about those details. You get my idea. It helps to build trust for the people to feel heard. On the other hand, there is a very practical issue of making sure that the meetings run in a timely fashion. And so it takes a careful balance to solve this dilemma. There is no single solution. And what I like about this proposal, it's attempting to do both of those things. And I think hammering it out to find a way to have our public policy build public trust is a good thing. And to make our meetings effective and efficient is a good thing. And those two things are mutually incompatible, so we're going to have to arrive at a wise compromise.
Okay. Anybody else?
Just a very minor.
Oh, I don't know.
Not on the merits, actually. Trustee Wise, you know I'm very particular with the grammar and when it comes to the policies. I did find just a couple.
No doubt.
Instances in which it could be just tweaked. If you could, in essence, the same motion, if you would withdraw, and I'll resubmit virtually the same thing, just with those minor tweaks.
By all means. As long as these are not changes in content, I have no concerns
I can assure
whatsoever.
you.
I withdraw and I will second.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you for withdrawing. I would make the motion to strike the first sentence of the policy that reads, "Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each and have the right to speak without interruption." That would be struck from the policy. It would be replaced with, "Speakers have the right to speak without interruption and may comment on matters."
Right, you need to strike part of the second sentence.
Yep, I'm sorry. So, again, I apologize. The motion would strike, "These speakers are limited to 5 minutes each and have the right to speak without interruption." And,
Just replaced the first sentence.
correct. And then it would say that speakers have the right to speak without interruption and may comment, so it would follow. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm actually, just for procedure, so I'll withdraw, and last time I'll get this right. So I'm actually going to, so it would strike really the first two sentences and replace it with this sentence. So it would strike, "Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each and have the right to speak without interruption. Speakers may comment on matters of public interest involving school operations and programs." It would strike that. It would replace it with, "Speakers have the right to speak without interruption, comma, and may comment on matters of public interest involving school operations and programs," period. That would be replaced. And then at the end of the policy, the following words would be added. "In the event of a large number of speakers being present and/or for the purpose of preserving the orderly operation of the meeting, any board member may introduce a motion to make a one-time change to the format of public comment, subject to a majority vote of the board." So
It needs a second.
I second.
Okay.
And I can provide that to our clerk.
Joanne, can you
think I
please do
got
a
it.
roll call vote?
I think I got that. And we're talking about waiving the second reading and.
I don't know what we're, I guess so.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
No.
You did not.
Oh, boy.
Withdraw,
No,
reintroduce the
please
same
don't
motion.
withdraw. Please just say yes.
I move to amend the motion before the board to add the line and waive the second reading.
Excellent. I second.
Vote on the amendment.
Yes.
But we don't need a roll call on this, I think, on the amendment.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions?
This is just the motion to amend, to add, and waive the second reading and
Yes.
adopt, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So the-
Oppositions? No? Okay.
Opposition.
That's fine.
But this was just to amend.
Right, now we have,
Now we have the
board.
motion before, so,
That we
okay.
do want a
That
roll
vote
call
was on waiving the second reading.
Okay.
Yep. So now we have a motion before the board and a roll call vote.
Well, did we have a vote on this? On the motion to amend the motion?
The motion to amend the motion passed 6-1 with trustee Douglas objecting.
Thank you. I didn't hear.
Okay.
Okay. So now the motion is from trustee, Vice President Kersey and trustee Wise to strike the first two sentences and replace with "Speakers have the right to speak without interruption, comma, and may comment on matters of public interest involving school operations and programs." and at the end of the policy, adding, in the event of a large number of speakers being present, or to preserve the orderly operation of this meeting, any board member may waive the second read, may introduce a motion to make a one-time change to the format of public comment, subject to a majority vote of the board.
Okay.
And
so I
it
have a-
waives the second
I have a
reading.
comment. I could support this motion if they were separate, because I can support the first part of this. The second part, we already have that right as board members to do that at any point during a board meeting ever. It is redundant and it doesn't need to be there. So, to me, I could support this if you'd like if you care about my vote, if you break it into two, but in this way, I can't support it. So, that's up to you guys. You have the motion on the floor.
And I need something in there about time limit, whether it's individual or overall. But, I can foresee a situation where a number of people in our community have an issue, or a small number of people in our community have an issue, and the microphone is monopolized for a length of time, which I've seen happen at these meetings.
So I think that when we have a large number of people who want to speak, or people have a lot to say, that's when we as a board, as public servants, most need to listen. We do have a motion before the board.
Okay.
I'm okay with, if it doesn't pass, obviously we'll resubmit it in separate parts.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote, please, because we also have to be very cognizant of the time. We have people in 3 minutes that are going to be on overtime.
Okay. Vice President Curzio.
Aye.
Trustee Douglas.
No.
Trustee Grasso.
Aye.
Trustee Magliano.
Aye.
President Orser.
No.
Trustee Torpy.
No.
Trustee Wise.
Aye.
Motion pass. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you very much. I know that there are some divisions on this, but I appreciate a very respectful dialogue on this, so thank you.
Great. Okay, moving on quick, guys. 4.04, Ms. Stevens, is this in everybody's packet, or is only on board docs?
Board norms.
Board norms,
is,
yes.
so
That's
I
it. That's, so the other piece we're not
Board
discussing.
norms is
So,
in everybody's folder.
okay, so these are our board norms. We have revised them several times. All I am asking this evening is that we adopt them as they're written, and as every other board, you're going to know that I'm going to be inviting you all to a retreat over the summer where we're going to be discussing the board norms, and we can remove for this board, but I am asking that we adopt them tonight because we do really need to have board norms in place, but we will be, so I would like to make a motion that we adopt the board norms as is for this evening.
I'd like to second that.
Thank you. Can we, comments or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Abstentions? Oppositions? Motion pass. Okay. Moving on to consent agenda. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the consent agenda as presented or amended as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
So I would like to note that there is, I believe, a donation present here. Yes, there's a donation of tools and accessories for Carmel High School from Anne Marie Young. I want to express our thanks and appreciation of this motion, of this donation. So I do want to speak to that. The second thing, I noticed that there is a resolution to approve library books declared a surplus for disposal, and I just wanted to ask quickly, do we donate the books that are disposed? Do we sell them, or what happens to them afterward?
I'm so happy you asked that. I have a sheet for you on our weeding process, which outlines that, I believe. Oh, maybe it just doesn't, no, it doesn't outline the donations. But yes, we have a process for weeding books, which I'm giving you tonight. And if we're able to donate, yes, we would do that in lieu of destroying them.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Objections, abstentions? Great, motion passes. Moving on to general action. 6.01, be it resolved, the Board of Education approve the instructional and non-instructional personnel requests as recommended by the interim of schools. And I would like to make, need to add that name. Oh, get to that. Okay. Questions or comments?
Motion.
Oh, sorry. Can I get a second? Oh, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Objections, abstentions, motion passes. Okay, 6.02, be it resolved that the Board of Education approve Labella Associates to perform a boundary and topographical survey at George Fisher Middle School and Carmel High School for a total cost of $72,950. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Can we have a little bit of,
I have a question. So, may I?
yes,
Did we get a second? Or did you second?
I seconded because nobody else did so.
So this was brought up in our formerly named Facilities and Transportation Committee, and I know that there were some questions. There have been questions concerning our district's boundaries for a while, including specifically at the middle school. And I know that there were questions asked whether or not there were any records on file as far as any surveys that have been previously done, whether the county has anything on file. Were we able to receive any answers to that or reach out to the county at all?
Did, no.
They have nothing. And we would need to do this if we're moving forward with any type of upgrades to athletic fields. So we think it's in our best interest to do that. But I know that, yeah, we've been trying to get our hands on survey information. What do we own?
So we have not been successful with any county records of any surveys at all?
That's correct, and
Okay.
the information that we do have, we do not believe is accurate. It's just so old, we can't rely on it, and we will need this if we do anything going forward.
Okay.
Would something like this, Mr. Silver, typically go for a request for proposal? Is it usually something specifically in the lane of the district architect, or how would this usually work?
It does not matter who the architect is doing this, although this architect has the capacity to do it in-house rather than bring in a consultant. They're large enough to be able to do all of this, and I did ask that specifically. They would conduct this themselves. This would have no bearing on who would be the district architect or who would be the bond architect going forward. It would be a recording of our boundaries and topography for whomever is the architect for a potential bond or for any work we did on the fields.
And this would be at, is it 6 different properties? Well, the Kent Complex, elementary,
This
primary.
is only the high school and middle school.
Okay.
And the boundaries are of the entire boundaries, and the topography is only of the areas that we would touch should we be doing anything. So that means all of the fields at the middle school and high school. But we would not be touching any topography of the areas out of that because we're not contemplating doing anything in any time soon for anything but the fields. So this would be in preparation, and required, Trustee Curzio, to do anything going forward in a year if we wish to.
And the middle school property is approximately 48 acres. The high school property is approximately 31 acres.
Yes, sir. And all of that is spoken to in what was attached on that.
Any other questions or comments? So I guess my only question is this, that this isn't required to go out for a bid?
That's correct.
Okay.
Because this was from our district architect proposing this.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Objections, oppositions, motion pass. Okay. 6.03, which is something that I'm going to ask for a proposed executive session. Can I get a motion?
If I may?
Oh, yeah.
Since we only have a couple other items, we could,
Oh, move. Okay, so can I get a motion to move that 6.03 to?
so, Madam President, I would make a motion to suspend the regular order of the meeting and to move 6.03 after board comments.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 6.04. Be it resolved that policy 5001, district-wide safety plans and building-level emergency response plans is submitted for your first read. Vote for approval will be at a future board meeting. A draft copy is posted in board docs and is recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. So this was discussed last night in policy. It is something we have to do. Peruse it at your own pace, and it will be on at our next meeting for a second read. Questions or comments? Okay, moving on.
I seek
Oh, yes, thank you.
recognition, Madam President,
Yes,
for the
of course.
purpose of introducing a motion.
Please.
Thank you. I make the following motion. Be it resolved, actually, hold on. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve Stacy Pittman as varsity girls volleyball coach for the 2025-2026 school year as recommended by the interim superintendent of schools. I make that motion.
I'd second that.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Oppositions? Great, motion passed. Moving on to 7.01. This is old business. Does anybody have any old business they'd like to address tonight?
I have one brief item of old business, which is we had agreed as a board that after 7.1, and I'm not asking we do this now, we agree on a date for a work session to discuss both building consolidation and Princeton model. It's my understanding that the superintendent is already has that in the works. I want to express appreciation for that and also just make sure the public is aware so that they understand this is not dropped. Thank you.
Anybody else, old business? No? Okay, moving on. 8.01, open session. I'm not going to ask for, because it's not even the same anymore, so is there anybody here that would like to address the board?
I don't need the clock anymore, do I?
No.
First one under the new policy, Ms. Williams.
Don't abuse it.
Slightly not shocking to anybody in the room. Anyhow, Megan Williams, Lake Carmel. More questions, actually. When will we be deciding who the liaisons for like the PTO, the CTA, and who's going to be sitting on the equity committee for the board will be? I thought that was going to be done within the reorg meeting, so I was just, that's a question to you guys. The other part is congratulations to all the new trustees that are sitting up there. It's nice to have faces and people who are willing to volunteer their time in the community, whether you agree with them or not. We need volunteers, and the backbone of a lot of functionalities run in this community on volunteers. So thank you for taking time out of your schedules and from your families and dedicating it to building our district. Lastly, I would just like to say, because, you know, I like to always say my pie in the sky, things that are not normally taken great at first, and then down the path it becomes something that might be taken seriously. When we're looking at the things like the biliteracy seal, we've had new languages that children have been able to do. I would like to eventually see us move to ASL as being an offered language. Reasons behind this is it is something that is paid very well within medical fields and multiple professions. It is a specialty, and it is something that could actually be used with a lot of our special education students, whereas they are not able to participate in a lot of foreign languages. A lot of children and families do use ASL, and it would also be a part of incorporating SEL and bringing the community of students together where children who might not normally be able to communicate now would be able to communicate. And I think that would be a beautiful thing. Thank you and have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to move right on to board comments, and I'm going to answer your questions. We did move 6.03 to the end of the evening, and that is where our liaisons are going to be appointed. And then in terms of the equity team person, that's not somebody that needs to be appointed every year. That's just a part, there's just a board member on that team. Okay, so anybody else?
I mean,
would-
this
you guys-
ASL does count for the seal of biliteracy.
Yeah, it does.
It can. You would have to have someone come in to do the proficiency assessment.
Great.
Yeah, but we don't have that offered as
So someone doesn't have to have a language offered at a school in order to have the seal of biliteracy. There can be speakers of languages that are not offered, and then members of the community oftentimes come in to perform the assessment.
Yeah, and I think we had that this year because I think we got somebody, a Ukrainian?
Yeah.
Right? Somebody that
And
was.
Polish.
And Polish. So I think we did have that this year.
Yeah.
Great. So I am going to, anything else?
Yes.
Oh, Vice President Curcio.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to first congratulate and welcome our two newest members, additions to the board, Trustee Frank Grasso and Trustee Michael Torpy. Also want to, of course, acknowledge and welcome Trustee Nicholas Magliano. I know you've been here for 6 weeks, but you're still one of our newest additions. And I truly look forward, as I know all of the other board members do as well, truly look forward to working alongside the three of you as we seek to make a positive difference for our school district and our community that we are so fortunate to have the opportunity to serve. So it's a true honor to be working alongside you. And I also want to thank the board, my colleagues, for placing their trust in me as the board vice president for the upcoming school year. And I truly am honored by that, and I can promise that I will not let any of you down with that. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to a great 2025-2026 school year alongside our interim superintendent through November 1st, who we are so grateful to be retaining for a few more months, and who has been such an asset to our district and has contributed so many things to our district and moved our district forward just lengths and strides beyond what we even could have possibly imagined when we brought you in, and we're just so proud and happy to have you as our superintendent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. Trustee Wise?
Yeah, so I just want to recognize two events in the community and in the country this week. The first of these, this Friday, July 4th, is Independence Day. It's the day we remember the United States, what would become the United States as it declared independence from Great Britain. And in particular, our country has been guided, we hope, ever since, and I'm going to quote the language of the time, and we have indeed built upon this. The Founding Fathers on that day wrote the following: "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal," and of course we would now say all people. We've lived and evolved the understanding of this ideal over the centuries, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And this was a declaration written not at a time when we were winning and taking a victory lap. It was in fact written at a time when things looked very dark, and it seemed likely that every person who put their signature at the bottom of this page would soon be hung for doing so. But they chose what was right, and they chose what they believed. And I think our country does best when it lives to those ideals. And I know I will be celebrating on Friday with fireworks, of course, but also by reading aloud the Declaration of Independence. And I think there's value to all of us in understanding what it meant to the people who signed it and what it means to us today. There is one other item I'd like to mention, but if anyone else wants to. And the other thing I did want to recognize is that today, July 1st, is the first day of Disability Pride Month. I want to read a very, very brief statement, I'm mindful of time, from the ARC, which is a advocacy and resource group here in New York, and in fact, they have a active presence here in our community and in our district. Disability Pride Month is a time to recognize the history, achievements, experiences, and struggles of people with disabilities. It affirms that disability is a natural and valuable part of human diversity, not a deficit or a condition to be fixed. More than 1 in 4 adults in the United States, over 70 million people, have a disability. This month calls on everyone to promote inclusion and ensure people with disabilities are accepted exactly as they are without conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, just before we move on really quickly, I also would like to thank this board for putting your faith in me again, and I will also mirror Vice President Curzio's. I will do my best not to let anybody down. All right, so 10.01.
So I think actually, it's no big deal. I moved that item to right here in the
Oh,
agenda.
okay.
So, but we can just,
Move it again.
yeah, so I'll make a motion to move 6.03 to immediately following executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. So may the Board of Education recess into executive session for the purpose of reviewing the employment history of a specific employee and for discussion of, that are not applicable to open meetings law.
Hold on.
I don't know what the exact word is. Oh, wait, it might be in the first one. Hold on. Hold on.
I think in the first it was under.
It wasn't. Yeah, we need, so it's not, it's
I don't know what you're
information that is, what's the part where it's not
exempt from open
exempt from
meetings
meetings law? So that's it, exempt from open meetings law.
But this is just discussion of information.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
and not the employee.
But we will, so, okay, can I get a motion?
Wait, did you just say and not the employee?
Right.
No, not the employment history.
I believe this falls under discussion regarding the appointment of a particular
Yeah,
person,
I
since we're
think it
discussing the
might,
liaison.
yes.
Oh, yeah, you can.
So I think it's both. So, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, we will be back out.
Yes, there will-
Take
so
the
we will have
candy.
business after.
Great, all right, we're moving back on to, 6.03. What is it? 6.03, liaisons. Be it resolved that the Board of Education will continue with the following liaisons for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the intern superintendent of schools. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through them, and we need 2. The New York State School Board Association Advocacy.
Already picked it in the organization meeting.
Oh, you're right.
John.
Okay, PTO, PTA liaisons.
I'm interested.
Sure.
Can I get a 2?
Did somebody else?
I'll do it. If you don't, like I said, you want to do it?
Did you raise your hand? I didn't see
I
you.
did.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we have Trustee Wise, Trustee Magliano. Okay? Safety team liaisons.
Sure.
Okay.
We need 2.
So
Trustee Torpy?
I've done it in the past. I'm willing to actually step down from this one.
Okay.
And I think I've done it the past 2 years.
Okay, Trustee Grasso. CTA liaisons, I need 2. Trustee Curzio, or Vice President Curzio, I need somebody else? Yeah? Okay. Trustee Magliano. Great. Municipality liaisons, that's a fun one.
Yes, it is.
I did it one year.
I'll do that.
Okay. Trustee Wise, Trustee Grasso. Health and Athletic Advisory. Trustee Douglas. Trustee Tor. Trustee Tor.
Are you volunteering me?
I'm
Is that a
asking.
thing?
It was a thing.
I think the right term is voluntelling.
Voluntelling me? I suppose so.
Okay, great. Rotary and Chamber.
I don't know.
I think it's to meet with the Rotary Club.
Rotary Club, Chamber of Commerce.
And
the
I would
Chamber of
assume the
Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce.
I'll do it.
No, it happens like once.
How many we need?
That's really an as-needed one.
Trustee Curzio and Trustee Grasso. Support Staff Liaison. Ooh, right there. Trustee
They're probably going to feed you in the
Douglas and
Rotary
Trustee
Club
Curzio.
one.
And just so everyone knows that the president can be at any of these. That's just why I didn't volunteer,
Oh, okay.
because you might just see me. I think we did it.
I'd also like to point out that being president, and for those that are new to the board, is an inordinate amount of time, well beyond that of any trustee. So to not sign up as a regular liaison, I think, is quite all right.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, 11.1. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, successful first meeting, board.
Nice job, Mr. Nice job.